Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be demonstrating how we can create classes that position the images on the page using the position property. So I'm going to start off by creating my internal style with the opening and closing tags. And I would want to create a class, and to create a class it starts off with the dot and a class name. So I'm just going to call this static because I'm going to speak about static positioning first. And in this particular example, it means that whenever I use a class, it means select and style all elements that are using this class. So for this one, I'm going to specify that the position is static over here. And what static means is it's placed in its default location, and nothing can change that. So if the next item is, so this is a paragraph and then I put an image there, it will just fall on that location. So let me just show you what I mean. I can now specify that this image refers to a class called static. So notice how I've typed in the class name, and so this means style the element that is using this class. I'm going to save and refresh, and notice that really nothing much happens here because this is static positioning. It doesn't do much, but it's basically the default positioning. So if you want to use, you can specify where the image falls on your page using the top and left or right bottom properties, but that doesn't work with static. That works with the relative positioning. So I'm going to create another class called relative, and I'll call this relative over here. And now I'll create another image. I'll just copy this just to show you how this is different from static. Pretty much nothing's going to be different now because I haven't specified top, right, bottom or left properties, but I'll show you first what this looks like. And I'm going to use the name of the class that I've created, which was relative. That same name over there. Just save and refresh, and you'll see that it also falls on the next default location. But the difference with the relative positioning is that this is affected by the top and right. I can actually specify where I want this to be from the top of the page, or left or right or bottom. So let's say I want this to be 50 pixels from the element that it comes after. So 50 pixels from the last one, which was this first image. And say, so let's just save and see what we get. So 50 pixels from the top. Nothing has changed actually. Okay. Let me, okay, sorry, that's because I've actually made a mistake there. I haven't specified that this is relative positioning. So now you can see that this is 50 spaces or 50 pixels in between. I can try another one as well. I can say from the left, I'd like this to be 150, or let's say 50 pixels for now. Let's just see what that looks like. So you can see that it put 50 pixels, and I can increase that to 150 just to be a little bit more dramatic. Okay. I could also increase the space to 150, and you can see that this dropped 150 from its last, from the last one, previous element or previous positioning. So this is relative positioning. This is how it differentiates, this is how it is different from the relative. So if I actually cut these off and save and refresh, you'll notice that it pretty much works as if it was a static. So if I change this to static, there isn't any much of a difference, but it only makes a difference when you use it with the top, left, with the top and left properties. You can even do right and bottom. So let's have a look at the third positioning. So I'm going to create a third one called fixed, and this is just going to place the image. It will, based on the dimensions that you give, and it will use the browser window to position the image. So I will specify that for this position I want this to be fixed. For this to take effect, it has to be fixed, and I'll say 50 pixels from the top so somewhere about this much gap, so 50 pixels from the top. And let's do right instead, because we've tried left, and I'll say 50 pixels from the right. So this is going to come 50 from down and then 50, so somewhere here. This is where that third one is going to be. And it will use the browser window to locate itself. And let me create a third one and I do need to change my class over here to fixed, and that's the name that I've given it up here. Okay, so I'll save, and you'll notice how this has actually come in 50 from top and 50 from the right. Okay, now I just want to show you what happens if I actually bring this image even further down. Say I want this to be 500 pixels coming from the top. So if I refresh, you'll notice that that image disappears because I've specified that I want it to come 500 pixels from the top. So after 500 pixels, that's when it starts to appear. But I did that on purpose just to show you how when I'm scrolling, that is still there no matter what. Because this locates itself, this third one, or this fixed element, fixed image, it locates itself based on the browser, size or the browser location. So it will stay fixed on the page no matter how much you scroll. So if I made that 1000 and I'm scrolling, this is always there. So this is good to have if you have a footer area on your page that you want to stay fixed, for example. So you can think about that one. All right, so that's what I wanted to mention. In addition to that, I wanted to speak about if this class is a bit generic, so it works for any element. So if I say I want this main paragraph to have to be fixed as well, so it's going to locate itself somewhere behind that on the same area. So if I actually take this off or make this static just to make it move, and I refresh, you'll notice that that main element is on a fixed location. So what I'm trying to say is that the fixed element, these classes are generic, so they'll work on any HTML element that I specify. Okay, use this class, apply that style. So if you wanted these positioning to only work for the image tags, you can specify this. So this means over here, if I put img, so this is the element, the HTML element, it means style all image elements with this specified class. Okay, so now when I say img, it means these classes will only work if the class has been used within an image element. So if I bring this back to fixed and I save it, now you'll notice that second or main paragraph 2 should go back because sorry, I've lost myself here, because this class now is specific to the image element, element, HTML element. So you'll notice that this goes back to where I specify, which is good, and this no longer applies to the HT element because we've made this class specific to style only image HTML elements. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say for this video, and I hope it was helpful for you to understand how you can position images or certain elements on the page using the position CSS property. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.